Hello guys, all aboard the trauma train. That is episode number 7 of Made in Abyss season 2. I'm Clockwork Dandy Noodles. We're here to break down what the hell we just saw. I am your captain today. Captain Becca is here to give you some thoughts what I think about episode 7. I want to say it's the most traumatic episode so far, but I've been warned that if I say that now, I'm going to feel really stupid by the end of season 2. So I'm hesitant to say this. I love Made in Abyss. Beautiful show, but it's so horrific and it always finds a way of out horrifying itself. Before we get going on the horror train, guys, subscribe to the channel and we're trying to hit 1k subscribers. The midway review is now up. Go and check out that video. Did Made in Abyss make any of my top 3 lists? I've got my top 3 OPs, top 3 EDs and current anime. What do I currently think of the anime season we're having? So I've given you guys some thoughts on that video as well. We now need to buckle up and talk about what we just saw. I'm afraid we've got to leave the comforts of a nice cozy platform away for a bit before we get into the horror zone. What happened before the village became the village? Robots. This is all before the 3 sages arrived. Pre-village. What was there before our first group? The robots that they are greeted by allow them to start rebuilding to help gather some of the information. Big questions come into mind. Who initially made them? So somebody has to have made them. Even when we were traveling down with the first group, me thinking, oh, this must be it. This must be the start of the village. But it still seems like there is civilization down there predating even this. What purpose they're gathering information? Are they reporting back? How is the person who made the robots collecting information about them? So many questions. The group got weirdly lucky, but also this was the start of the horror train. We find a hollow for the first time, clutching the white whistle, somehow getting lucky and putting the hollow in the pod. They took the hollow with them. That is how they're able to get down in the first place. I just want to know who the hollow is. That hollow was a person at some point. How did you become a white whistle? I thought that the white whistle thing was a modern day Abyss things. The guys at the top, they go exploring, they get granted the white whistles. Eventually they get promoted up to white whistles. Who invented the elevator in the first place? How did they know about the white whistle thing? What does the white whistle thing even mean? So many questions this week. I have got nightmares, questions, the complete work. Problems for the humans start to occur when they start to want to go back. They knew that if you attempted to go to this place, the Golden City, it said that you couldn't return. It's a bit weird that once they get there and they see that the Hollow City could be there, they decide that they initially want to go back. People who go down into the abyss must know that there's no going back. Even with our group, Rico, and you've gone down in the abyss knowing that going back up is not going to happen. People will talk about going back. Bit of a weird one. Seems to be where all the issues initially come from, is wanting to go back out. I'm going to start calling the process on where a human loses its form, turning into hollowification. I think it sounds really cool. It does seem that the act of wanting to go back to the surface and going up is what causes hollowification in the first place. If the humans who get down there decide that they don't want to go back and they want to live down there, pretty much what we do see this week, they are able to keep their human forms despite all the illnesses we're about to run into. Maybe wonder if you did go down there and you were satisfied, you could live and die of old age, hopefully, in that human form. The cutest inhabitants of the abyss, and I'm going to say it again, is the cave dwellers. I think they are absolutely adorable. I want one. I really hope that Made in Abyss makes the plushies available, or I'm going to make one. These guys are absolutely adorable. Iriyumi, she's able to read the language of the civilization who initially were there before them, predating even the first group, maybe the guys who invented the robots, perhaps. They were there and now they've gone. We don't know where they've gone, but they've left signs and clues that they were once upon a time there. Iriyumi is able to read the language. Maybe it's the same people, because she does state they are a culture who give birth to kids, and if someone is deemed unable to have kids, destine her to go back to the pit. It makes me wonder if some of the civilization that is down there are the people that they're throwing into the pit. Might be distantly related to people like Rico. It is that really hard-hitting reality of the group when they realise that this is it. You can't go back. This is now your home. You have to make it work. There's no maybe it'll work out. You now have to make it work. It's life and death situation. You've got to make a place for yourselves. Let's start pulling into some of the Nightmare Central sections, which mainly just revolve around Iriyumi. Initially, I thought the worst for her was her giving us the backstory about her family ditching her because she couldn't have kids and being cast out. Initially, I'm like, oh, this is so tragic. How could this tragic story get any worse? Also see the cutest inhabitant of the abyss getting eaten. That broke my heart. This is the one thing I'm clinging to, the one cute thing of Made in Abyss, and you're just eating it. Thank you. Ruining my day, good sir. When it comes up to giving up the egg to a kid who's just seen a very cute animal and they can't have kids, it's almost like it was obvious, but I wasn't looking for it, that could possibly be the one wish of like a 5-year-old. Scary Unknown World has a new horror. Well, a horror that does linger in our own world, but thankfully with modern day technology and medication, we don't really have to deal with this anymore. It's disease. It's refreshing to see that they are paying attention to details, that living down in the abyss, not only are you having to look out for food and enemies, it's the abyss itself. It is science and nature itself. It's the nature of disease. And we're starting to see new diseases, horrific diseases, facing diseases that nobody's ever seen before, and you don't have a cure, being in an unknown world where there's no established systems, no healthcare, no nothing. It all starts to go down very, very quickly, with several new diseases being found almost at the same time. I think the food guys get hit by a fungus first, and then there's water that they're eating and it's getting into their systems, because even though they're boiling it, and we've seen a few times, I think with Rico trying to boil something and it was still alive, things down in the city of the scorching sun, or the golden city, diseases have learnt to survive hostile conditions. I think we've got things exploding lava at points as well. Things are used to the heat. But of course, these guys don't know that. They use their modern day brain. If I boil the water, it's going to be safe. And we start hitting more and more issues. Refreshing to see the anime touching on the fact that these people are going to get sick. We've now got even more weird things happening where we found a relic. It looks like an egg. It was the thing that we focused in on at the end of the last episode. I did initially point out that it looks like the compass is inside. Don't know if the compass is inside, because if it's inside the egg and the egg's now inside Yui, I don't understand how the compass is out and with Rico, because I think she's the one who currently owns it. And that could also be hints at what's going to happen, because I think there's a few missing pieces from the modern day period where we are currently in the backstory. I still feel certain that Yui is actually Fapatus. There's a few missing steps in the middle of getting from one stage to the second stage, but I think with the transformation this week, you can see the ears starting to appear. You're starting to see the body shape starting to appear with the fluff and everything. Egg's ability to grant wishes. The enemy is water, however, that is a necessity. You can't live without water. The civilization is resigning itself to trying to keep drinking, however, knowing that it's probably going to kill them. There, who is the one trying to save everybody, trying to do some scientific research. And if I study every single person, I might find a pattern. I like seeing her way of thinking, because it's how you go about healthcare in a sense. You observe it first and you start to do some examinations. We start to learn a bit more information from the robots about the egg, and we're told that original egg, or there was an original person who initially had the egg. It's the idea of fear. Children's desire is the closest thing to the very original desire that made the egg. Who is the original? It might be the case kids have more honest wishes as opposed to humans who want everything. Adults having more desires, more things weighing on them. The egg ends up breaking them or destroying them, and it looks disgusting because they start sprouting. Do see that even with what happens to Yui. Her body changes and morphs. Going back to Abyss as a whole, the Made in Abyss series as a whole, a lot of the story seems to centre around the idea of children. Mainly that children are innocent, pure-hearted, subjugated to the things that adults are doing. Like, we've got people like Bondrewd who are doing awful, god-awful things to kids, and now we've got perhaps possessed guy with a spirit telling us to do this, and he seemingly knows what's gonna happen. There's now a kid having awful things happening to them. A lot of the story does seem to centre around the idea of kids, and even with Nanachi, her making a pure wish to be with Mitty. Innocent wish, I want to stay with you. The wish egg is now with Belith, maybe? But it's just interesting that the children are indeed the main group that we follow during this anime. I still believe that Fapata is Irumi, and if you look at the way she's starting to morph, with those ears popping out of her head, there's also the 3 bones from the cute cave dweller that got eaten. Fapata has these red gems on her head, which I'm guessing are where the bones are. It's the soul of the cute thing that died. When I started to go, oh, I wonder what she wished for, and then she came in with the egg in her chest, I did think that Fapata had turned into what she had turned into because of the abyss, because of the curse, but I was very, very wrong. It's actually her own wish that starts to do it to her. Of course it's this. Of course it's the most horrific, nightmarish thing you can even think about. You've given a 5-year-old who can't have kids and has been outcast by her own family, who's also seen something adorably cute get massacred in front of her. Naturally, she's going to wish for the one thing that would have led to a happy life. So if I could have kids, I could be accepted by my family. Awful wish, but the way that it's enacted, and it's the whole be careful what you wish for type thing. It's horrific. It's death after death, and the things that she's birthing look like cave dwellers. It's like me going, I love cats, and then birthing cats. It's horrific. There was the interesting line that we wonder who heard her wish, who is enacting the powers to make her wish a reality, and why is it coming about in such a god-awful manner, and why is she still unable to birth living beings? Her wish was to have kids. These kids are dying in front of her in one day. So time starts to run out and we go into our final stop on the horror train. Who is Waku? Who is he really? Because he seems to know what's going to happen. We're told that he's apparently possessed by a prophet. Who is the prophet? Are they good? Are they bad? Because they seem to have known what was going to happen by giving the egg to a kid, feeding everybody and bringing them back from the brink of death. The last stop on our horror train, guys. He's feeding everybody in the camp with dead babies. If I was a monetized channel, I would be demonetized for saying that. It's a checklist of every single nasty thing we can have in an anime, and we've got it right here. We're now eating dead babies. Oh my god. Oh, something to really digest, pun intended. Very similar as well to what Belev said. He wants Mitty to be able to live off her of an endless source. It almost feels like this is in a way what's going on here, where she's producing endless dead children, which are again providing life for the entire village. We are now missing a piece. So how does this situation of her birthing kids and them being dead and now the village is okay, how does this all turn into Fapita? How does she turn into Fapita? We are definitely missing a few steps right now, but it's probably going to be even more horrific. I don't even know how eating babies is going to get even more horrific. How are we going to get worse than that? I don't want to know, but it's going to happen, I think. Absolutely, truly horrific episode. I almost want to say it's probably the most horrific episode I've seen this season. Maybe this year. I'm unable to even process right now if I've seen anything more horrific than this episode. But I guess we're going to have to make sure we've got an award at the end of season review for the most horrific, traumatizing anime of the season. And it's going to go to this. I want to say thank you guys for tuning in, but I don't quite know if I've given you a good ride because I've had to regurgitate everything. And I've just fed you all the trauma back as I muse over my thinkings. So many questions about the civilization before, what is happening. I think the guy who's led them down there, Waku, there's something about him that is really sus to me. I don't know if he has been possessed or he was like that all along, because he seemed to have an idea of where to go. And it does seem that if they're from a land far, far away, they had to travel by boat. It feels weird that he seems to know where to go. Would love to know what created the robots, what civilization was there before, and where has the civilization now gone? Have they gone down another layer? Or have they turned into those black masses we saw initially when Ver was asleep? Maybe we can also explain this situation. What was she plugged into? Why was she able to monitor the entire town? What are the black masses that she initially had? Current day Ver has just disconnected from everything. I want to say excited, but I don't know if that's the correct word for next week. Don't know if I'm looking forward to next week at all, because I think we're about to finish the story of how we got to the modern day, and I don't think it's going to get any better. I think it's going to get worse, and I have a feeling there's going to be a lot more baby eating. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm now going to let you off the trauma train. Thank you for boarding. You may have your ticket back and your money back. Burn it. Just burn it, guys. Don't even keep it as a souvenir. Burn it. Have a good day, guys. Make sure you're looking after yourselves. Bye-bye, guys.